Hi guys, happy Canada Day. Today we are going to be celebrating Canadian brands and I'm going to be doing a full face of Canadian makeup. Super excited to be doing this because I think Canadian brands can definitely get left behind, or just the fact that they are Canadian, it never really gets highlighted. So I wanted to do that today, and because it is Canada Day, yes I know July 4th is coming up, but we have Canada Day first and we are celebrating today. So that's what I figured we would do. I'm definitely going to leave out a brand or two, I know, but I did want to highlight some of the brands that I had here in my collection, and I will link to my Canadian beauty series down below if you're looking for more kind of highlights on Canadian beauty brands. And this is just a small selection of some of the new launches. I've got a huge pile of stuff to talk about, so stay tuned for another Canadian beauty video coming up, but let's go ahead and get started. Oh Jesus. Cheers. Before we hop into the makeup, I want to chat quickly about, ooh, that maple syrup. Don't ever do that, my friends. Do not chug maple syrup. I had to do it for a cause. I wish I had Kinder Eggs and ketchup chips here and all dressed chips, but I don't. So I had to stick with the maple syrup, and I have no Canadian decorations. So that's what we're doing. Oh, and I'm also wearing red, which I almost never wear. Anyways, I wanted to chat briefly about just a little bit of skincare and hair care that I absolutely love that's Canadian. And I'm not just highlighting these brands necessarily because they're Canadian, but I also think they make great products. So anyways, first off, my hair. Marc Anthony has just blown me away with their hair care products. So the two that I'm wearing in my hair right now. First, I have the Perfect Curl 7-in-1 Leave-In Treatment Foam. So this is for defrizzing, defining, moisturizing, detangling, smoothing, softening, shining, and it's mousse, so it just glides through the hair so nicely. It has no real hold, but it's there as like a leave-in conditioner. And then I followed up with this. This is my second bottle of this. I know, it's a mousse. It blew me away how much I loved it, but it's the Curl Enhancing Styling Foam, and I cannot say enough good things about both of these. Styling foam, essentially, I think that this is one of my favorite hair care products ever. Another hair care brand that I've mentioned a ton, oh, and Marc Anthony is available pretty much anywhere, Walmart, Shoppers, is Curl Keeper. I think they make, Canadian, I think they make amazing products. I really love their hairspray in a cream form, which is great because if you have curly hair, hairspray is not exactly the best option, so I love using this for a tight bun. And then the 30-second detangler is a great kind of curl refresher, just kind of moisturizes the curls, and it is good for detangling after the shower as well. They also have a hold kind of gel that is a really, really nice kind of watery consistency, so it's not like heavy on your hair, but it still gives beautiful curls. And this is available at Trade Secrets. I'm not sure where else, but I think I've repurchased this before, and this is almost empty, and I'll definitely purchase it again. For skincare, I want to mention Indeed Labs. I did a video with them last year, and today I'm actually wearing one of their new products. It's the Indefense Dual Action Moisturizer with SPF 30. I've only had it on for about 10 minutes, but so far it feels good. I love their Hyaluron Jelly. I think that that is so good. It's such a good lightweight moisturizer if you have oily skin. And then Skinfix is another brand that I think is incredible if you have eczema, psoriasis, keratosis pilaris, which are those kind of bumps on the back of your arms. They make incredible products. One of my favorite things that they do is their Calm and Repair Sleeping Mask, but I also love, this is great if you have oily skin, and my boyfriend likes this too, good for redness, but I also love their cream for the keratosis pilaris or whatever it is. I put that on the back of my arms every night, and I really do think it's starting to make a difference. Sorry, I'm kind of rushing through this, but I haven't even gotten into the makeup on my face yet. And then I want to just quickly mention this brand. It's called Jouviance. This is their cream gel, and it's a moisturizing comfort cream. Really, really beautiful moisturizer if you do have oily skin, but you're looking for something with a little bit of hydration. I believe there's hyaluronic acid in here, and it's to quench, plump, and soften the skin. So even if you have like a combination or more normal skin type, I think that this is great. And they make, again, really beautiful products available at Shoppers Drug Mart, and I know a few other places, so I'll try to link to everything down below. Okay, now let's get into the makeup. I'm gonna start by doing a little spot concealing. I have a breakout here. I haven't had a bad breakout in months, so that's fun. But I'm going to be using MAC, is actually a Canadian brand. So this is one of their concealer palettes, and I'm just going to do a little spot concealing. If you didn't know, yeah, so MAC is a Canadian brand. It was born here in Toronto, and it primarily started as kind of I believe a theater and performance brand, because basically there was not enough brands out there who did a lot of color, be it both for foundations and stuff, but actually just like paints and whatnot. So that was why MAC kind of got their start, and then it eventually kind of moved to makeup artists and then later into the public. So I think that that's pretty cool, and obviously it's one of the more successful Canadian brands, definitely. The reason I did some spot concealing before I primed is because I'm using a spray primer, and I find when I put this down it's a little bit harder for the spot concealer to stick. So I'm using the Face Atelier Ultra Matte. This is like a spray, so you can use it as a setting spray or as a primer spray. I like it as a primer spray. It's kind of silicone-y, and it's just super easy to spray on your face. I don't love the sprayer that they have as a setting spray. I don't like it that much, but what I do like it for is if you do have oily skin and you love the idea of like spraying your face with a mist before doing your makeup, but you don't want something that's going to be hydrating, then this is a really good option, and I definitely do find it kind of makes a difference with the level of oil kind of push through on my skin. For foundation today, I'm going to be using Cover FX. If you did not know, they are Canadian, and I actually had to do a little bit of reading up on them, so let me just start this process here. So what I'm actually going to be doing, I'm using the Cover FX Power Play Foundation, which I have reviewed, link below, mixing in some of the Aqua illuminating drops. This is a brand that's found exclusively at Shoppers Drug Mart, and I'm going to be blending it all in with a Lise Watier sponge. So very, very Canadian happenings. But when I was reading up on this, and I mean, I just briefly, literally briefly read up on it right before this filming started, but Cover FX started as a brand that, well, it was kind of an accidental start. So it was two guys. One of them was actually one of the founders of MAC as well, and they were creating makeup for patients at Sunnybrook, which is a healthcare center here in Toronto. I'm pretty sure it still exists, actually. So they were trying to make things that were good for psoriasis, vitiligo. That's my Bluetooth speaker. As I was setting up for this, I was listening to My Favorite Murder. Such a good podcast. So basically, it started as a brand that wasn't really meant to be super cosmetic-y and mainstream. But I think those kind of brands, similar to like a Dermalogica, have a place in the market for sure, because some people do have skin issues, or they want something that's not going to make them too sensitive, or they may be in recovery from treatments but still want to wear makeup, and they've kind of held to that standard. And you still don't see them doing a lot of like color products. It's primarily, you know, treating different skin issues, even if it is oiliness or whatever it may be. They actually don't do a lot of talking. Like a lot of these brands, even MAC, even Cover FX, I had to do a little bit of digging on Cover FX to see how it really started, because in the About Us section of the website, they don't really talk about it. So to do some cream contour today, I'm going to be using my Nudestix and Nudies Tinted Blur Stick. This one is in the shade Deep 8, so it's a little bit deeper than my skin, and I really haven't played around with this too much as a foundation, but I love it for a contour just because it's so easy, so blendable. You could definitely like use your fingers with it if you wanted to. And Nudestix is Canadian, but it's actually kind of like a family business. So there's two sisters, and I believe their mom, and they started it, and it's obviously become incredibly successful. I think the products are great. My favorites from them are this stick here. Their lip stuff, any of the magnetic stuff, like their magnetic lip stays on forever, but it's not super drying, and the magnetic eye is great if you have oily skin as an eye base, or as just like a cream eyeshadow. To conceal, I'm going to be using the Stellar Beauty Concealer. This is a brand that popped up last year, I think it was. I have a review on the the foundation and the blush and the lipstick. I did a wear test when it first launched. And this concealer I've had for a little while. I actually haven't played with it much. The shade is not great for me because I like a little bit of a lighter shade, but I'm gonna do it anyways. What I'm gonna do is put just a smidge of the Annabelle Perfect Concealer on over it, because this one is quite a bit lighter and a little more yellow. And Stellar was actually created by Monica Dole. She was a Much Music VJ, if you remember that. And she created this brand for more medium skin tones, but everybody, but definitely more medium skin tones in mind, because she found that working in television, actually, she could never get a good match. And not that I've had my makeup done that many times, but I find I myself, I'm not that dark, really. Like, I see people who are white wearing my shade of MAC if they have enough self-tanner on. And I find that people always assume I'm much darker than what I am, and I'm always getting matched to a really dark shade because of my features, I guess. And my skin is actually really not that dark, so I totally understand that struggle, and I appreciate that she's done that, and the line has done quite well. I mean, it's at Sephora, which is always exciting. And then to highlight my skin, I'm using the RMS Magic Luminizer. I didn't realize this brand was Canadian until yesterday in my research, but it actually started in Vancouver, which I think is super cool and totally like so Vancouver-y to come out with a line like this that's all you know, healthy and natural, because everybody in Vancouver is like healthy. But I didn't realize that it was Canadian until yesterday, so that's exciting. And I've talked about this highlighter in my most recent favorites actually, and I really love it. I think it looks really natural on the skin. It seems like it works for a lot of skin tones. I will say you need to move kind of quickly with it though. Like, it seems like the kind of thing that it's good because it feels like it sticks around a little bit, but at the same time it kind of dries down quickly. So in that sense, I don't feel like it works good over powder, because when you put it over powder, it just kind of stays there. And even now, blending it over my foundation, I feel like I'm kind of needing to work a little bit for it. So probably don't do what I did, place it all over your face, even though I knew that I shouldn't have done that. But I think the end result is just like healthy, healthy skin. And my apartment is so hot right now, but I can't turn on the air conditioning because it's going to be too loud. I'm going to set my under eyes with the Stellar Loose Powder. And this is actually made in Canada. Not all of these products are made in Canada, and like I said, a lot of them don't even really talk about the fact that they're Canadian. But they're all kind of born Canadian brands, so that was kind of the criteria that I went with. To set the rest of my face, I'm using the Annabelle Perfect Matte Powder. I've used this a few times and like it. They've released a bunch of new stuff, so like I said, I will be talking about it all. I myself am from East Coast Canada, Newfoundland, which is an island. It's has the most easterly point in all of North America, so that's where I'm from, but now I'm living in Toronto, Ontario, which is a much bigger city than where I'm from. So now I'm going to bronze my skin. I'm going to use this one from Lise Watier. This is the Aqua Terra Powder Bronzer, and it's massive. It's a big old bronzer. I actually haven't tried that yet, and I'm going to be putting it on this Quo brush that I mentioned in my favorites. It is the Quo powder brush. But this looks like it's going to be dark enough for me. That's the other thing about Canadian brands. Oh, I could just talk about this for days. But Canadian brands do not cater to deeper skin tones, nor do Canadian drugstores or Canadian retailers, I'll say. Which is unfortunate. I would like to see some change, and I'm doing everything I can to change it, because I obviously, you know, the majority of these products were sent to me from Canadian brands. So, you know, I do have a line to them, and I tell them, you know, hey, I really want to review your foundation. I'm getting requests, but you don't make a shade even anywhere near me. You have 4 shades of like nude, light nude, a little bit more nude, and nude. Nude again. So that makes it really tricky. So I am trying to voice that. I mean, it's annoying that I have to voice it, you know, and I don't want to put myself in a compromising position with a brand, and I'm not rude about it, but I'm just kind of like, you know, it would be great. So I'm doing what I can. This bronzer is beautiful. For blush, I'm going to be using the Vasanti. This is actually labeled as their mineral bronzer, but it's in Sun Peach Glow, and I absolutely love it. And if you can see that there's still such a nice amount of glow on my skin from that RMS highlighter, even though I have since covered it up with powder, but it still really kind of shines through. So it's a really beautiful product. And I also want to mention just, I don't know, I have mentioned that a lot of these brands don't really, you know, talk about the fact that they're Canadian, and I see that a lot on YouTube too. And I feel very lucky that I'm able to highlight Canadian brands, and I love being able to do that because, you know, you walk into Shoppers and you're like, what's up with Quo? No one talks about Quo. Am I really going to spend 20 bucks on this, you know, this blush or whatever it might be? So I really love being able to talk about it. Also, by the way, behind the scenes here, I'm using the Life Micellar wipes. I really like these. They're quite affordable, and I also love the Life brand baby wipes as makeup wipes. Not necessarily for my face, but just for like swatches and just general makeup mess. But I'll get back to my point in a second. I'm going to be using the Joe Fresh Define, Highlight, and Enhance. So I think this is supposed to be a bronzer. It's not going to be a bronzer for me, but I love this as a natural highlight. I know I've been talking a lot about natural highlighters lately. This is an awesome one, and then this is a little bit more glowy, as you can see, so I'll use both. But yeah, a lot of Canadian creators don't ever talk about the fact that they're Canadian, and they don't talk about, you know, how they got things and stuff. And like I said, I'm very lucky that I'm able to receive a lot of PR and PR from brands that aren't available in Canada. But I still, for the most part, you know, even if it was like Shop Hush, which apparently they're not shipping to Canada anymore, but I still ordered from them before I did my video on them, just to kind of give you an idea. Or even if I am sent it, I still like to inquire from the brand, you know, how does this look when someone orders from it? Because I want to be able to give that information to you. And I feel like nobody ever talks about customs or shipping, and these are like factors when you're making a purchase as a Canadian. So that is like the kind of more natural one. And then this is the more glowy one. It's just a really beautiful palette. There's a blush palette in this new launch too, and I think that's great as well. But yeah, I'm glad to be able to kind of spread the word, because I don't know why people don't talk about it. And, you know, I've asked you, you know, do you find it polarizing when I talk about Canadian, or even just saying the Canadian and American price, you know? Like, okay, my camera cut me off while I was ranting, but basically I was just saying I don't feel like it's polarizing, and I know you have given me that feedback to just sprinkle in the Canadian information because it is so incredibly helpful. And I mean, I watch all kind of like American YouTubers who are talking about Ulta hauls or Walgreens or whatever it may be, or British who are talking about Boots and Superdrug, and I mean, I just love makeup, and it is interesting to hear about, you know, what other people are buying and doing. Anyways, while I finished ranting and the camera cut, I did do my brows. So I used the Annabelle Universal Dark Shade Skinny Brow Liner. I think this is awesome. And then the Marcel Perfect Brow, which is a great brow gel and has a very, very tiny little brush on it. So I'm gonna move you in now, and we're gonna move on to the eyes. To prime my eyes, I'm gonna be using the Annabelle Eyeshadow Primer. I use this all the time. It's almost always listed in the description box of my videos, but I love this because it's just a cream shade, no shimmer. It's matte, and that's really hard to find at the drugstore. Whenever drugstore brands come out with cream eyeshadows, they never do like just a plain base. I don't know if it's like harder to do or what, but I really love this and highly, highly recommend it. It's something I use all the time. So I'm not going to cheat and use MAC eyeshadows. I will be reaching for this Joe Fresh palette. It is the, what is it called? Neutrals palette. I believe Sonia Kashuk had a palette similar to this. And I'm going to start with this shade here. Just going to run it through the crease. And my whole point of saying that I wish more people spoke about being Canadian is that, you know, if you watch my videos, American, whoever you are from around the world, you know the types of issues that we run into, be it things not being available or customs, crazy shipping, etc., etc. And if there were more people talking to it and more people communicating with brands, I think that that would at least start the conversation, because I think Canada gets totally overlooked as a market a lot of the time. And I understand there's, you know, things that, you know, rules and regulations with customs and taxes and whatever that obviously like I can't affect. But I think brands are starting to realize that Canada is a thing, which is exciting, but we're still a little behind in some senses. Next up, I'm going to be using the latest launch from Joe Fresh. It's their Rose Neutrals, and I think this is really pretty, but it's still so cool toned. I'd love to see a warmer toned one. I'm going to take this kind of purple shade here, and I used this shade in another video. It's really pretty. And just putting that in the outer corner and a little on the lower lash line. But overall, very glad to be Canadian. I know I've complained a little bit, but the reason I'm doing this video is because I am proud to be Canadian, and I think it's important to support the brands that are Canadian, and, you know, they support me, so it's something I truly enjoy being able to highlight and having that platform, as they say. And if you watched one of my most recent vlogs, my boyfriend actually just got his permanent residency in Canada, which is so exciting. It was a very emotional vlog. I know I've already thanked you for your support, but you know, it was 5 years in the making, and he finally got his permanent residency, and it was just such an incredible relief. And he's excited to have his permanent residency because he's that much closer now to citizenship. He's Serbian, and he basically needs a visa anywhere he goes, and I have a Canadian passport and I can basically go anywhere without a visa, you know, for vacation. So that makes me feel so grateful to be Canadian, to have the ability to travel easily and just to have the freedom to be able to do that, because a lot of people in many countries don't have that freedom. I kind of forgot that I own this. This was part of a Lise Watier holiday collection, I think, but it is so pretty. I'll link to it if it still exists down below, but it's like this kind of glittery. I opened it up upside down because I thought it was like a pressed thing, and it was not, and it went everywhere. But anyways, I'm gonna put this on my lids. I'm gonna spray my brush with this Joe Fresh setting spray. I've used this a couple times. I'm gonna take it off the lid because it's just this, such a bizarre, almost chunky, so shimmery and shiny. Try my finger. Oh, so much fallout. So pretty. So I line my lashes with this from Lise Watier. It is the Feline Eyeliner HD Waterproof. That's my first time using it, but I really liked it. On my top lashes, I'm going to be using the Marcel Extensions Plus. I love both Marcel and Annabelle mascaras, if you're looking for a place to start. But what was I going to say? Oh, this mascara is kind of dried out. I haven't used this in a long time. Okay, let me try again. I'm going to be using this one from Joe Fresh, the Lash Lift Mascara. I haven't tried this. Ooh, it's one of those ball ones. But what I was gonna say was about being proud to be from Canada. I mean, Canada is, you know, it's not the perfect country, but at the same time, I'm so happy to live here. I'm so proud to be Canadian, and I think being a Canadian is the kind of thing that you can go more or less anywhere in the world and tell people you're Canadian, and people will enjoy that. I didn't really like that mascara. I found it hard to use because the ball on it was like just so invasive, and I couldn't get a good coating on my lashes, so now I'm going in with the Annabelle lash launcher, which I really like. I'm gonna go ahead and set my face with the Joe Fresh Stay All Day setting spray. So on my lips, if you're wondering where the hell is all the bite, well, I had moisturized my lips initially with the Bite Beauty Agave mask. I had a multi-stick that I was going to put on my cheeks that I forgot to put on. So now here we are with the lip pencil in the shade 48. Bite is an incredible Canadian brand, and they've done so well. Cannot line my lips while talking. I should say as well, I've been blotting my face this whole time because I'm sweating so much because it's so hot in my apartment right now, but the foundation still looks really good and is not transferring. So on my lips, I was so torn about what to put on my lips. I was like, I should do Bite because it's Bite, but then like every other Canadian brand, like they all make great lip stuff. Anyways, I settled on Nudestix because I love this red so much. It's the Intense Matte Lip and Cheek Pencil, and it just sticks around forever. And I wanted to go with the red because Canada. So here is the finished look. The lip came out a little bit deeper than what the actual color is just because I put on that deeper lip liner. I've been wearing a lot of very nude lips lately, so it was kind of fun to play around with something a little bit deeper. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below how you're celebrating Canada Day, if you're from Canada, if you've ever been to Canada, if you want to go to Canada and you don't know where to go. And let me know down below other Canadian brands. I know I missed the one Ilia, I think. They've gained some popularity. I've never tried their stuff before. So I definitely have more left to try, and stay tuned for more Canadian beauty videos, of course. This is kind of just the tip of the iceberg of all the makeup I have to talk about. I'm just surrounded in it right now. So happy Canada Day, have a great one, and if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Not Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, @SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.